It started with the sound of glass shattering. A champagne flute, tipped over in a scuffle, crashed to the cabin floor as heads turned and passengers gasped. And there I was, Julian Rowe, 42, in a charcoal suit that cost more than most folks' rent, being asked to please exit the aircraft immediately, while a smirking man, still seated in 3A, tapped away on his laptop like nothing had happened. Let me back up a bit, because this story isn't just about a seat on a plane. It's about what people think you deserve based on what you look like, even when you've earned every damn inch of space you stand in. That morning had been like any other for Muppet 5. Quick run on the treadmill, coffee with oat milk, and a review of our quarterly earnings report from the Tokyo office. From the floor-to-ceiling windows of my Atlanta penthouse, I could see the city I used to dream of conquering. Back when I shared a two-bedroom with my mom and 3 siblings on the south side of Raleigh, I didn't know what a billion-dollar tech company looked like, but I knew I wanted to build something big. And I did. I built RowWorks from my garage into one of the leading AI security firms in the world. We're the people building systems that spot bias before it causes harm. Funny, right? That day, we were headed to San Francisco to debut a new platform software designed to reduce prejudice in law enforcement databases and public-facing AI tools. Ironic, considering what I was about to face. Tanya, my assistant 8 years strong, smart as hell, had booked everything to perfection. First class, seat 3A, my preferred side for early flights. She even made sure I had a fresh tie sent from the dry cleaner that morning. When my driver, Greg, pulled up curbside at Hartsfield-Jackson, he gave me a look I've come to recognize, part admiration, part disbelief. "Mr. Rowe," he said, grabbing my bag. "Beautiful day to make history." That was the plan. I breezed through check-in. The staff at the first-class lounge knew me by name. "Americano, no sugar?" the barista asked. "You got it," I smiled. Little things like that. They remind you you've made it. But even when you're comfortable, you never stop watching your back. Not when your skin tone doesn't match the upholstery. 20 minutes before boarding, I made my way to gate C16. First class was already boarding when I arrived, so I scanned my pass and approached. The gate agent, a white woman in her 40s with a brittle, practiced smile, welcomed the couple ahead of me with warmth. "Enjoy your flight," she chirped. Then her eyes landed on me, and the temperature dropped. "Boarding pass and ID, please," she said flat. I handed both over without a word. She frowned, tapped her keyboard like it had insulted her, and muttered, "Huh, something's off." "What's the issue?" I asked. "Just verifying something." "One moment." She picked up the phone and called someone named David. When he showed up, it was like I'd been caught trying to sneak into a private club. "We're going to have to ask you to step aside," he said, not even looking me in the eye. "I paid for seat 3A, I said, calm but firm. "It was booked 2 weeks ago. Platinum elite status." "What exactly is the problem?" "We've had some fraudulent upgrades recently," David said, loud enough for the entire boarding area to hear. "We're just making sure everything checks out." People were staring now. A teenage boy whispered to his mom. An older man in coach shook his head. I called the airline's customer service line right there. 7 minutes on hold. The rep confirmed no issues with my ticket, and yes, it was indeed 3A. I walked back up and said, "Your system's fine. May I board now?" David barely nodded. "Fine," he grunted. No apology. No explanation. Just, "Fine." I walked down the jet bridge, trying to shake it off. But when I reached row 3, there he was. A man already in 3A, mid-50s, silver hair, pressed shirt, Rolex glinting under the lights. I stopped. "Excuse me," I said politely. "I believe you're in my seat." He glanced up once, barely. "I don't think so." I showed him my boarding pass. 3A. He sighed. "Yeah, well, I prefer the window." Before I could respond, a flight attendant walked over. "Is there a problem?" "Yes," I said. "I'm assigned to 3A, but this gentleman is sitting in it." Without checking either pass, she turned to me. "Sir, are you sure you're not mistaken? First-class passengers boarded some time ago. I was delayed at the gate. But here's my pass." She finally took it, squinted, then turned to him. "Sir, may I see yours?" He showed 3C. "Well," she said, "he prefers the window, and the flight's not full. Would you mind just taking his seat?" I blinked. Yes, I would. I paid for this one specifically. She lowered her voice, that fake sweet warning tone. Let's not make a scene. We're trying to maintain an on-time departure. I shook my head. No scene. Just want the seat I booked. Her eyes hardened. She picked up the phone. 2 minutes later, airport security was on the plane. Sir, we need you to step off the aircraft, one said. On what grounds? I asked. You're refusing to follow crew instructions. No. I'm refusing to give up a paid-for seat to someone who's not supposed to be in it. The other guard leaned in. Either come peacefully, or we'll remove you. The man in 3A never looked up. As I walked off that plane, cameras from economy passengers followed me. I heard one whisper, "He probably got drunk or something," another muttered. These people always think they're entitled. I didn't shout. I didn't protest. I turned on my phone, hit record, and calmly said, "My name is Julian Rowe. I was removed from my first-class seat without cause. This is what it looks like." I posted the clip before I even reached the terminal seating area. No caption. No hashtags. It blew up in minutes. 10,000 views. Then 100. By the time that plane hit cruising altitude, Flying While Black was trending. Major networks picked it up before I could blink. That afternoon, the airline released a statement calling it an isolated misunderstanding. Then someone leaked a second video, different angle. Caught everything, including the flight attendant whispering, "They always try to sit wherever they want." By sunset, 3 more black executives came forward with eerily similar stories on the same airline. Gate delays, seat reassignment, suspicion, over nothing. And then, the messages started. Whistleblowers, data analysts, a diversity officer who'd been silenced, an email chain showing internal protocols for extra verification when a passenger didn't match the profile of first class. It wasn't personal. It was structural. So we got to work. We didn't just sue. We launched something bigger, the Equal Skies Initiative, a coalition for accountability. Public data on who gets upgraded, flagged, questioned. AI tools to audit for bias. A rating system that would make airlines compete on fairness, not just fares. And funny thing, the market listened. The airline stock tanked 32% in a week. Their CEO was fired. Their diversity officer, Lisa, was promoted to interim CEO and brought in to lead reform. And me? I was offered 5 million frequent flyer miles. I said no, because I didn't want a reward. I wanted change. 6 months later, I boarded another flight to San Francisco. Same airline, same gate, seat 3A. And waiting at the door was Lisa herself. "Welcome back, Mr. Rowe," she said with a smile that felt real. "Thanks," I replied. "It's good to be seen." As I sat down, a young black woman across the aisle smiled at me. She wore a startup hoodie, probably headed to pitch investors. For a second, I saw myself 15 years ago. Hungry, talented, uncertain of where she'd be allowed to sit. This time, she didn't need to worry, because someone had refused to move. Tell me this: if that had happened to you, would you have stood your ground? Or quietly taken seat 3C? Comment below. Tell me what you think. Was it just a misunderstanding? Or a mirror? And if you believe we all deserve our rightful seat, hit that like button, subscribe for more stories that expose injustice, and share this with someone who's ever had to prove they belong. Because sometimes, standing your ground in silence is louder than shouting. And sometimes, one seat can shake the whole system.